Good evening and welcome to this edition of our Take and Makes, the long-awaited tissue jars. Such a fun craft. So I will empty my jar and we'll get going on this one. Do I really need to put in directions? Because we're basically just painting a jar. But they're here. Basically says paint your jar in a very long version. So we'll get started doing that. It is chalk paint. So if you've never worked with chalk paint before, it's a little bit thicker and, whoa, that looks really thick. It just has a really fun texture once it dries. And it's something you can kind of buff up too. I've seen some where they buff up this ball part. And then if you are doing this at home or getting your own jars to do this, I got the smooth-sided jar from Ball. So you can see that usually has a nice big decal right here, and these ones don't. They're smooth on every single side. So if you look around, the most common ones have that nice big logo, but if you search for smooth-sided, you just get this little tiny decal down here. So I'm going to, I'll double check the directions. Oh, a few coats of paint. On my sample one, I think I maybe did 3. It does go on pretty thick, so if you want it to dry faster, kind of like the other paint projects we did before, go ahead and do like really thin layers, and then you can get it done a little bit faster. And if you're not a fan of that really matted look, if you like a really glossy look, paint the inside. And then it comes out really nice and shiny, and then you don't have to worry about later on maybe that chip or the paint chipping off. So I did a little test run on my sample before I painted the outside, and it works. It looks really cool too. I still prefer painting the outside part. So you can see this paint goes on really smooth. So I'm just going to go around. I just stick my hand in there to kind of hold it. Some people have like these fancy tumbler wheels where you can like stick a jar or a cup on there and kind of spin it around while you're painting. And then I'd also say just make sure you have something that you can dry it on. So I just grabbed a piece of cardboard. I really like this color. I had a lot of fun picking out the colors. So I'm just going to go around. The first coat will look really thin and kind of, that has a lot of lines in it, but your second and third coat will really start to like make it look more solid. There's that. Just gonna go all the way around. While I'm painting, I'll just do a little public announcement. June 9th, we're going to have an open house at the branch, and we're planning some really fun projects to do there in our new makerspace out at the branch. So we have like a sewing machine project. We're gonna get out our big giant heat press and do some iron-on decals, and just have some other really cool samples out of what you can do with the equipment that we're gonna be introducing at the branch. Some similar stuff we have downtown. We have those Cameo vinyl cutters. And you can always, if you're more familiar with Cricut, you can always check out our little Cricut Joys from the maker kits out at the branch. So we've been getting ready for that. It's been so much fun coming up with some new ideas for you guys and what new ways to use that new equipment out at the branch. And I'm excited to meet some of you. I occasionally get to run into people who pick up those maker kits. It's so nice. Looks like one small little strip left. I think this is the second time I've used chalk paint, and I really enjoy it. It just has like a different texture than acrylic paint. You can kind of buff it up if you want to. It's just really fun to play around with. And I feel like a lot of the colors of chalk paint are really like modern. You get a lot of nice colors. Painting the bottom is optional. I'm just gonna leave that right now. So you'll let that dry, and then you can add another coat. After it dries, you'll really see like the spots you missed. Let's see a few here and there. And don't really worry about those spots quite yet, because those second and third coats will definitely cover that. I'll call that good. And we'll work on the lid next. Get my brush and my water. Oh, got paint on me. But I have tissues, because I'm doing a tissue craft. Yes, winner. For the lid, you'll have a piece of cardstock in your jar. You just measure around the outside. All right, yes. Just got a handy pencil. And you don't have to use cardstock. You can leave it open, or I saw some people using some felt too. Anything that kind of has a nice give. I like the felt idea. So I'm just cutting the circle that I traced from the lid. And then we'll use an X-Acto knife to cut an X in the middle. Bring out my hefty one. And it doesn't really have to be perfect, because you're going to have tissues coming out of there, so you're not really going to notice if it's not a perfect X. So there's a nice spot where those tissues can come through. And you'll just put this inside the lid. And then once that lid is screwed down, it's going to stay in there really well. Here's my sample. And the decal. I have white on the other side, but I brought black today to show the difference. If you want to too, you can always come in on our Open Lab and design your own decal for your jar too. So if you have something else in mind. If you go on Etsy, there's all different kinds of sayings for these kinds of jars. I think another popular one I saw was like a tissue for your issues. Probably should have showed this part, but you guys probably know the drill. You put that red grid sticky contact paper, sticky side down on top of your decal. Rub it out really good. I usually use like a gift card or credit card or something. Today I'm going to use my lid. And your goal is to get that decal to stick to the red grid paper. Just covering my paint, just in case. And now I have more paint on me. But I have tissues. Okay. So the decal is all rubbed down. Then you peel off that white backing. And if the decal is sticking to the white backing still, you just turn it back over and rub it again. That looks perfect. Then you can place it where you want it. So it looks like the black does not show up as well as the white on this color, but you still get a nice decal. So I rubbed it down again. Looks like it's still sticking, so I'm just going to rub it a little bit more. Sometimes it just depends on like the weather and humidity, how well that decal sticks. So that decal did not come right off. But if you keep working at it, eventually you'll get it on there. So there's that in black, in white. And if you guys want to, yeah, I'll put some tissues in there. So there are a couple videos, if you look up like tissue jars on YouTube, that show you how to fit tissue from like a regular box into the jar. And the one I saw said don't do more than an inch at a time. So I think I'm doing even less. Okay, about that much. It might be about an inch. You want to keep that top tissue, the one that was at the top of the box, on top, and then fold it in half and pull that one up and then fold it the other way, kind of so it gets rolled up. Oops. And then it should fit into your jar. This is my first time trying this, so we'll see how this goes. Oh yeah, that fits in there really nice. And then you can just pop that through the top. Does it work? kind of works. Okay, my paper did not go on the same. Redo. So maybe a thicker cardstock might be better for this. Maybe I just got it on wrong. There we go. So you get the idea. I think I put too much tissue in there. If you don't want to mess with folding your own tissues for the jar, you can also buy these canister packs. They were originally designed for card cup holders, and from the reviews I read, they fit right inside your jar. So that's convenient. Right in there. And then if you guys are interested in other jar crafts, because I've heard of so many people loving all things jar crafty things, we have some books. This one is in our children's room, Mason Jar Crafts for kids, and this is, I felt like this was a really good one for like if the grandkids come over and you have extra jars laying around. A lot of the supplies are things you would have at home already, or you could easily find. So there's just a lot of really, really cute kid stuff in there. This is one of my favorite ones. Just a little jar for your sunflowers. That's a good one. We also have Mason Jar Nation, and it kind of goes through the history of Mason jars, but there's some really clever crafts in here. This book had things that like were very functional. They have some recipes in there too, but things you would definitely use. Oh look, there's the jar tissue. Well, they have some good directions too. So that's another good one, Mason Jar Nation. And then also we have Mason Jar Crafts. This one had some really unique crafts. So there was a plant hanger in there. It's another one. They do some crazy stuff. That was a night light. Yeah, just some really fun things in there to do. Just in case you have some mason jars laying around at home and need something to do with them. And thank you guys so much for joining me, and I'm looking forward to the next one.